Hello, Aquarius. It is Haley with Tarot from Beyond, here to complete your September 2018 general reading. The first thing that I did is pull your Oracle card, and I do believe that it is going to help you understand the reading that is coming before you. The Ten of Air speaks of individualization and understanding that you are a paradox. That there are two parts to you. There is a human part to you and there is a soul. And I want you to think of something. What makes us a whole person? It's our flesh and blood, and it's our spirit that has created a whole person. And I'm going to be using the example of the magnet to help you understand creation so that you can manifest and create whatever it is that you want in your life through the process of individualization. A lot of you are being urged to step away from trying to fit in with the status quo. A lot of you are being urged to step away from being what everybody else wants you to be so that you can so-called fit in. This card urges you to step into the unknown, and the unknown is the subconscious part of yourself that we don't spend very much time with because it's not as familiar to us as our flesh and blood is. Because our flesh and blood actually has to be fed, taken care of. It requires a shower, and these things are obvious because we are in the flesh. And those are the things that we are more receptive toward. And so what you're being told is by individualizing, you're going to understand that there are two parts to you. There's the flesh part of you that needs to be showered and cared for and taken care of. And then there's also your higher self, okay, which is your soul. And to make it easier for those of you who really don't know how to understand the definition of the soul, let me help you out. The definition of the soul is really and truly your feelings, your thoughts. Everything that's going on within you, your feelings, your thoughts, that's your soul. And then your physical body is simply that, your physical body. And the two come together and create a paradigm. And that is what you are. You are a paradigm. You're a paradoxical individual. And Aquarius, a lot of you are being urged to stop trying to fit in to what everybody else thinks that you ought to be. To stop trying to, fit that status quo. A lot of you are really being urged, internally. And a lot of you, I know, feel it like it's time for a change. It's time for me to actually really work in my spiritual gifts and incorporate that into my day-to-day life. And understanding the subconscious part of yourself is not a linear process. It's a process that comes with dedication. It's a process that comes with patience, and a process that comes with meditation. And meditation can be done in several different forms. The way I meditate is just by sitting alone. I just sit alone outside in my backyard. I just sit alone and think. That's all I do. I don't go into this deep trance or any of that. Although for some people, if they do and it works for them, then wonderful. Okay, whatever works for you, then you do that. But for me, the way that I meditate is by just simply sitting quietly and listening to my own thoughts and my own desires. And then when I think about some of my desires, then I say to myself, is this really important what I just asked for? Is this really important what I'm thinking about? Is this really going to make a real impact toward my dreams? So with this full moon, I want you guys to set your intentions on being able to communicate with your higher selves just as I'm speaking to you now. Put that as number one on the list. There is a ritual that you can do Some people believe that it requires a pen and pad. I don't. I believe that you just set the intentions as to what it is that you want in your life. If you want to understand yourself better, speak as though you already do. Use words like I am and I have. Use this Pisces full moon to set your intentions. And sometimes the reason why people feel as though this ritual should come with a book is because, or a journal, is because in that journal, right? First and foremost, it cannot be written in. Even if it's been written in, don't tear pages off and think that it's brand new because you've ripped pages off. If you choose to take that route, which for some of you may be a good idea, that's okay. And let me tell you why it's significant. Because when you write your intentions with this full moon by saying, I am abundant, I am strong, I am powerful, I am limitless, I am capable, I am like this with my higher self. I understand myself to a T. I know how to listen to myself, and I know the difference between the part of me that is only human and the part of me that is eternal. And we communicate and understand that nothing about you is more beautiful than the other. Nothing about you is worse or better. You are who you are, your own unique individual, okay? And everything about it is beautiful. So that's what your oracle card is telling you. You be who it is that you want to be. Not who everybody else thinks that you ought to be. Okay, that's what this card is urging you, Aquarius. Okay? So a lot of people have been saying, how come you don't shuffle? Well, I do shuffle, but I can't shuffle and hold the phone at the same time. So what I will do is just cut the cards so that you know that your readings are not being orchestrated, given that they resonate so deeply. Everything is synchronized. Everything is in divine order. I know this. So whatever these cards reveal are going to help you understand yourself better because, number one, we need to understand everything that we are experiencing on the outside is a reflection of what's going on within us, okay? Whatever we are internalizing is going to manifest externally. That's the law of attraction. Now, when it comes to creation, you have to understand yourself, just as described, your human self and the more darker part of yourself. And when I say darker part of yourself, I'm talking about the subconscious aspect of yourself that is less identifiable, that we've spent less time with. Those two have to come together. You have to understand yourself and understand yourself well so that you can respond positively to the negative situations that you may find yourself in. Okay? And when you respond positively in a specific manner because you know yourself to a T, then you know what you do. You create an outcome that is specific. I will use the example of the magnet, okay, before I begin. A positive ion by itself is just a positive ion. A negative ion by itself is just a negative ion. But when you bring the two together, it creates a magnet. So you have to understand that everything has its polar opposite, even you, and the people that we choose to get involved with. So let's begin, Aquarius. Two of Cups. Commitment. Moving on. Money's a little tight and feeling left out in the cold. Happiness. And burden. So this is a clear-cut story, right? Some of you, Aquarius, were in spiritual unions. You were committed to this person, but you moved on from them because this person had you feeling left out in the cold. Not only that, they weren't making any financial contributions to the relationship. And now that you have rolled out and taken everything with you that you've learned in the relationship, you are now happy because you know that the relationship was a burden. Now, wasn't that a very quick read? Very easy and straight to the point. This tells me that a lot of you, Aquarius, are starting to see the fruits of your labor, because you are now clearing the clutter, like for real, and you know how to do it, and you're getting good at it. You're saying, you know what? I don't care how much I really love you. I see what you're not doing in this relationship that you ought to be doing. Or I see what you're, doing and not doing in this relationship that you should be doing. And it's not conducive toward where I'm going. And as a result, I can't sit here and babysit what you got going on because I've got something different going on. It's time for me to start understanding me better so that I can create the life that I want to live. That is what a lot of you have recently done. A lot of you have recently abandoned ship because the ship was sinking. And that ought to make you happy, because you know what? It takes brave people to be able to say, you know what? I don't care how long I've been with this person. It takes strength to say, you know what? This ain't working. Because the polar opposite of love is fear. When you love somebody, you fear losing them. I see that you loved them, but I feel as though intellectually, and swords represent thought, you realize that this commitment wasn't going to lead you anywhere but here, a place of lack. So, and present you with nothing but burdens. So kudos to you for making that move, because it's not easy to end relationships. We know it's for our own good, but the process is not easy. And in certain situations and circumstances, it can become a very nasty process. But a lot of you have said, you know what, I'm going to clear the clutter in my life so that I can make more room for myself. And a lot of you are individualizing, and that's where it's at. See, there's a theme going on this month, and it applies to every zodiac. And as you know, that since we're all connected, all 12 zodiac readings will resonate with each one of you. Now, let's talk more. Aquarius, the reason why a lot of you walked away from current relationships or past relationships is because these people were lying to you and having third-party situations. Third-party situations don't always have to involve another sexual or intimate partner. It could mean that, you know what? The third party in the relationship is the fact that this person has, something else that is important, that's just as important to him or her as I am. Three's a crowd. That's not how relationships go. Relationships are supposed to be between two people, not three parties. So no matter how this went down, and the moon represents, not seeing the full picture with regards to whom this person was that you were with. And that's why you walked away. You walked away. You pulled 2 I got away cards. I walked away. And that's very wise of you. And do you know why you walked away? Because you told yourself, I'm worth more. You know what you're going to attract more? People who know your worth as well, because now you know your worth. That's the law of attraction. Now that you know what you're worth, Now everybody else around you is going to know your worth, and you're going to attract people who are going to treat you as though you are worthy. By saying, I'm not going to put up with lies, guess what? That is a rule that you have imposed on yourself. In my opinion, a very healthy boundary in intimate relationships. Because when you don't allow people to lie to you, guess what you're telling yourself, your higher self? We're not going to let people lie to us. And then you know what's going to happen? The universe is going to say, okay, then I'm not going to send any situations that come your way that require, the other party to be lying. You're not going to attract people who lie because you didn't put up with it. You're not going to attract any more people who want to have third-party situations in intimate settings because you said, I'm worth more, and I'm not having that. So therefore, the universe is now no longer going to present you with people that you can become intimate with that like to have third-party situations. You took a stance. And when you take a stance like that, your higher self adheres to it, and then the universe then brings to you, you attract who you are, what you're internalizing. So if you're saying to yourself, you know what, I know that I'm worth more, and that's what I'm seeing here, you're going to attract people who are going to recognize your worth. Congratulations, Aquarius. And now a lot of you are working on your individualization, and you are creating what it is that you want to create in your life, and you are understanding that the process is not always easy. It's not always easy to walk away from people that we've spent time with and been intimate with, and really, the initial plan was to stay with this person. You know what I'm saying? Because you love them, but you got to a point where you realized that the relationship simply wasn't serving you anymore. It served its purpose. And you have to understand that people do come into your life for one reason and one reason alone, and it's to teach you something. And then when that time is up, because you've learned whatever was meant for you to learn in that situation, then I'm telling you, the natural way is that right away things start to, decompose because it's dead. It's meant to be dead because you have things in the future that you need to attend to. And that is yourself, understanding yourself. And when you understand yourself to a T, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to know how to respond positively to negative situations. Specifically, you're going to specifically know how to respond positively. It's not just going to be some positive random act. When you get to know your higher self just as well as you know the part of you that you're more familiar with, when you begin to integrate the two and realize that makes you a whole person, and you are able to communicate with yourself in a very dynamic way, then every positive response that you give toward anything going on negatively in your life will create a specific outcome. It will create something. Just as I gave you the example of the magnet. It's that simple. And yes, even though it's that simple, I'm working on it too. Of course, there are times where we get very frustrated and we're multitasking, and we're, a lot of us mothers at times feel as though it's a thankless job, We're sitting here making sure everybody's underwear are washed and making sure everybody's clothes are clean for school. We're making sure our homes are clean and refreshed, and all these needs that are required by our children and our husband, and not only we barely sometimes have time to take a shower, us mothers. And some of you single fathers understand this as well. And the thing about single fathers, it's even a little bit more difficult for you, because not only as single fathers have to do what single mothers have to do, they also have to go make that bread and butter. Single mothers have to do the same. And then when that happens, a lot of times we then become engulfed in the flesh and only, make decisions based on what we learned in the flesh. And anything outside of that, we don't understand because we haven't spent enough time with the part of ourself that is a little bit more mysterious, so to speak. But I'm letting you know that you can communicate with your higher self just as I'm speaking to you now. Ask yourself, what is it that you want? Listen to your answer and then ask yourself, did I really just say that? No, sometimes you'll find yourself doing that. Am I asking for some serious, am I setting my intentions on some serious stuff that's going to change my life forever? Because my understanding of myself has graduated to a place that has changed me forever. I feel as though a lot of you have stepped out of the status quo and you said, you know what, I'm an individual, and as an individual, whatever situation this was just didn't serve me. And as an individual, I'm letting you know right now, I'm not going to let you take anything away from me anymore. I've been there, done that with several people, and I'm not doing it anymore. You've graduated because you've learned. Everything that you are today is the result of all of the experiences that you've had and everything that you learned through those experiences, whether it be through the experience of a relationship or a career or whatever it may be. Life is just a journey. It's an experience. You are a spirit having a human experience. And so when you realize that there are two parts to you, and you get to know that second part of yourself that is a little bit more quiet and a little bit more evasive according to the human understanding. When you get to really start to dissect yourself, one of the ways that you can do that is through asking questions as to what you want. Because the soul is really defined by your thoughts and feelings. Are you listening to them? Are you dismissing them? Or are you solely consumed in what will take care of our physical needs only? When you get to know yourself to a T, as I have explained, then you will know what specific positive response to provide to any negative external situation, and it will create a specific outcome. And this comes through the process of a journey. With every little thing that you do. For example, let's say some of you are in unhealthy relationships and this person comes with negativity, right? And when they respond negativity, it invokes a response from you, doesn't it? A positive response or a negative response. If you respond negatively, guess what? -5 plus -5 equals -10. Now the experience between the two of you becomes more negative. If you respond positively, even if it's a random action of just positivity, what will happen is it will just neutralize the situation. You will create neutrality. Nothing will get better, nothing will get worse. Everything will stay the same. But when you start to really understand yourself, then you'll be able to be meticulous with regards to how you respond positively. And then guess what? The creation will be more meticulous and specific. That is how you create. And the law of attraction is understand that everything that you are dealing with externally is a reflection of what's going on internally. So what I'm seeing in a lot of you Aquarius is that you are now realizing your worth. By walking away from situations and people that no longer serve you. That means that you understand your value. You've made a commitment to yourself now. You've made a commitment to yourself that you're going to put your best efforts into yourself so that you can create the life of abundance that you are meant to be living. We're all supposed to be living how we want to live. None of us are meant to be living lives of lack. None of us should be having money that's tight. We shouldn't be in a position where our money is tight. That's not the way things were really originally designed to be. We're supposed to be living a life of abundance because we are creators. We're creators. You are limitless beings who can create whatever it is that you want to create. But if you don't believe that, then that's not a positive rule that you've placed on yourself that your higher self will adhere to. I want some of you to look back into your past, and I want some of you to think about some of the rules that you have imposed on how relationships ought to be due to your past relationships. Your past relationships have taught you a lot, and you are supposed to keep every lesson that you've learned in that relationship and take it with you into the future. That's what that means. Through experience, you learn. And when it's time to go, you take all of the lessons that you've learned in that journey with you into your future. Once you're able to do that, then what happens is you're able to apply what you've learned in future situations. You'll be able to identify situations where you could say, oh no, been there, done that. I know where this is headed. I'm not doing that. You'll be easily able to say that. You'll easily be able to not walk into so-called traps where you have to learn the same lessons over and over and over again with people who are not worth their salt. Because they have a lot of journeying of their own to do. To close you out, Aquarius, you are in a new beginning, and a lot of you know it. And you have choices to make in this new beginning, okay? And one of those choices is to nurture yourself, according to what Spirit is saying. Nurture yourself, because when you nurture yourself and take care of yourself, you're going to attract people who nurture you as well. That's the law of attraction. You have the ability to create whatever it is you want, and a lot of you are ready to say, you know what? I'm clearing the clutter in my life. In whatever form it comes in, I'm clearing the clutter. And now I am becoming my own individual self. I don't care about what people think about me and how unique or different I may be. A lot of you are in that space. I'm not trying to please the public, my family, and everybody else according to what they think I'm supposed to be like. I'm the determining factor as to what I'm going to be like. That's what this card is saying. It's all about individualization. You are becoming your own individual at this place, so feel liberated. Because, Aquarius, this is a beautiful reading. Yes. Ending things so that new beginnings can be perpetuated. I didn't say it wasn't going to come with some discomfort and some pain at times and sadness, but please understand that your emotions are choices as well. Your emotions are choices as well. So if you feel left out in the cold, still, after ending whatever it was that you recently ended, Aquarius, understand that feeling left out in the cold is a choice. Don't feel left out in the cold. Feel liberated. Because it's time for you to step into the new you, and the new you is getting ready to create the life for yourself that you want. And if you believe that, it will certainly happen. So with this Pisces full moon energy, I am telling you, set your intentions on what it is you want. If you choose to use a book, make sure that you use a journal that has not been used. Place your right hand over it and say, this is my full moon manifestation journal. Write your intentions in that journal by using the words I am and I have, as if everything that you are setting your intentions on are already here. Don't use pencil, as it's erasable, and by using pen, you are further setting the intention that your new changes are permanent and not temporary. With that being said, Aquarius, I am very proud of this reading, as many of you took that brave step toward getting rid of things that no longer served you, and now it has allowed you to become your own individual self. A lot of you are beginning to feel a lot more comfortable now with who you are, and you're ready to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm an eccentric individual. I'm a limitless being. And despite the fact that you may or may not understand, that is not going to change my movements. One way or the other, I'm going to continue to do what it is that I need to do to reach my goals and to fulfill my dreams. Because all of you can. So with that being said, namaste, my loves. I will talk to you soon.